Thank you. Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Inuit, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Cynthia Stevens, and I'll be chairing the hearing this morning. Joining me this morning from the Board of Revision are Ms. Tracy Anderson and Mr. Brent McIntyre. Our secretary this morning is Crystal Harland, and our assessor is Jeremy Pohl. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Please be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private to make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1 and 2 on our docket today. Mrs. Harlan, can you please affirm both the assessor and the applicant's testimony? Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair. Mr. Assessor, thank you for standing. Would you please state your full name?
Jeremy Reinbold.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay.
Thank you. Please be seated. Mr. Applicant, would you please state your full name?
Marcelo Navarro.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, again. I understand there may have been some movement on both of these properties, but we will hear both of them and see what you have decided. So, Mr. Pohl, can you please read 225 Broadway onto the roll, please?
Okay. 225 Broadway, roll number is 120930700000. The original assessment for the 2025 cycle was $6,604,000. I'm going to be recommending a reduction to $5,482,000. I believe that'll be accepted. I have a workup for the Board. I don't know if
I'm sorry, Mr. Pohl, can you just repeat that your recommendation amount one more time, please?
$5,482,000.
Thank you.
And I have a workup sheet for the Board. I don't know if we can give it to the secretary so be scanned in just to make it easier. I can go through the numbers if you like.
Why don't you walk us through it? We can look at your initial workup, and you can just tell us where you made changes, if that's
okay. Sure. We'll just go through it. We'll just go through the property quickly so we can see on page 8. It sits on Broadway. It has its own parking, and as you can see, it is a prominent. We have it rated as an OFS, but really it competes in the OFB marketplace. If you're a tenant, if you're looking for rent, if you're looking for the talk about this building, you're typically occupying a B prime on a floor plate basis, or bottom of an A, like an A minus. You'd be looking at 400 St. Mary's, or 444 St. Mary's, in around that marketplace. So B prime to low A, and what we see for that marketplace is about a $16 to $17 or so rent, depending. This building here wouldn't be a multi-tenanted building, it'd be a single tenant. So what I'm getting at is if you're not going to be occupying a floor plate on one of those upper Bs or lower As, you'd be looking for a building like this in the downtown, so you'd occupy it in full. And what that comes with is ample parking for the building itself. As you can see, there is parking on the roll. I believe a dedicated amount of this is for the building itself, and I'm sure some of it is also for market parking as well on the opposite side. So, long story short, we go over workup. Workup is on page 3 for the parking. It's our standard parameters. We have 79 stalls at $92 a stall, which gives an NOI of 87,216, capped at 4.5%, gives us a market value of 1,938,000 for the parking. On page 5 is the original workup for the Class B section of the OFS, if you want to call it that. We have rental rates that are around $20.85 and $19.48 for the main and upper areas. And then in the basement, it's leasable area. It's not just storage, it's actual office area. So the basement lease, we had a $14.26. I reviewed the property. I know the property, and I believe that's too high of a market rent. So the adjustments that I made was a $16 rent for the main and upper, so everything above grade, and a $10 rent for the basement. So from that, I'll read through the adjustments, and that's the only adjustments we made. So
Okay, thank you.
and again, I'll give the work to the clerk. That way, you'll be able to see it as well. So with those adjustments made, we have a potential gross revenue or gross income, I should say, of $335,788. Applied to our 12% vacancy gives us our effective income of $295,493. When we apply a shortfall of $14 and a non-recoverable expense allowance of 3%, gives us an NOI of $248,051. So again, an NOI of $248,051, capped at 7%, gives us our market value for the building of $3,543,583. So $3,543,583, and that's the adjustment that was made. The parking is model driven. There's no need for adjustment there. So with the total value adjusted, it is $5,482,000 rounded. So again, $5,482,000. Correct that. Presenting to the board.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Navarro, are you in favor of this recommendation?
I am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Anderson, do you have any questions?
I do not. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. McIntyre, any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
And I do not have any questions, so I'm assuming there's no need for a summation on this, Mr. Poole?
No.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so we'll move along to 280 Broadway. And you please proceed to read it on once you're ready.
File number is 242385. Roll number is 1209778830. That's for 280 Broadway. The original 25 assessment was $16,685,000. I'm making a reduction today, a recommendation for reduction today to $16,201,000, and that is straight from the appellant's value that was sought. I reviewed it and it's reasonable. So with that, I don't know if you want to divert over to Marcelo to get him to go through his workup, or
yeah, maybe that would be helpful. Let's just pull it up. Thank you. And that'll just help us see what was done here. So Mr. Navarro, just if you want to walk us through your workup, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, so if you turn to page 18, you'll see the summary of the workup. Just tell me when you're there.
Okay, I think
Okay.
everybody's there. Okay, great. Go ahead. Thanks.
Okay. So I'll deal with the right side of the evaluation first, and that's the parking lot. So we have an operating income of $49,900 920. That is for the 52 stalls that are there. There are no other parameters that we applied to parking, as that is viewed as a net. So effectively, it's the net operating income as well. And we've applied a 5% cap rate to that at 907,636, rounded to $908,000. For the OFC portion, we have a leasable area of 116,210. That gives us an income of 1,571,753. And I will just quickly tell you what rent that is. That is actually $13.70 per square foot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we've applied a vacancy of 12.52%. And that is, we varied somewhat from the model. So it's 12.52%, shortfall of $14 per square foot, non-recoverable expenses and other, we valued at 3%. And that gives us a net operating income of $1,146,998, to which we applied a 7.50 cap rate, and an income value of $15,293,311. And that would be rounded to $15,293,000. Now that equals a total of $16,201,000 rounded.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Anderson, any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Mr. McIntyre, any questions?
I have one question, and this relates to the leasable areas. Now, on the assessor's brief, he showed 105,342, and you're showing 116,210. Is there any reason for that?
So we go by the floor plates that the owner documents in their income and expense submissions. So it is a little bit higher. And I believe that's also pertaining to some basement areas that are probably excluded in the assessor's valuation. There's not much value in those areas, but we still count them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. It appears we have heard all the items on the agenda this morning, so the hearing is now adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Madam Chair, I'll go take us offline.
Thank you.
She probably doesn't.